Welcome to At Home with Music. I'm Leon Olguin. We've been talking about frustrations, dreams, and now we're moving on to fears. What are some of the fears you might face as you learn piano or guitar or any other instrument? As this channel has grown and developed, I've discovered that most of my viewers fall into one or more of these categories. You may be a homeschool teacher looking to get your children started in their music education, whether it be music appreciation or beginning piano. I always say piano, but that includes keyboard, if you like. You may be a mature beginner. You're no longer a child. You may have decided to learn piano later in life. Well, knowing that you have that desire, it brings me great joy because I love to see people discover the joys of making music. And I'm here to help you in any way that I can. You may fall into the category of somebody who is picking up their music education after a gap of several years. Maybe you took piano lessons when you were younger and you stopped for some reason. And now you'd like to take it up again. So no matter which category you find yourself in, homeschool teacher teaching children music, or a beginner, no matter what age, or someone who's picking up their musical education after a gap, there are fears that you will most likely encounter. These are challenges that you face. So what are these common fears and how can you deal with them? After all, if you allow these fears to invade your mind and take over your thought processes, that's going to slow you down while you're learning, and it may even keep you from getting started. One of the most common fears that musicians have is fear of failure. You may be afraid of not meeting your own expectations. Perhaps you're not sure if you can even do this. Now, at this point, you may want to ask yourself, what do I expect to accomplish? Many of my students simply want to learn to play their favorite songs, and that is a most worthy goal. They're not looking to become virtuosos. You don't need to become a virtuoso. If you have a desire to just simply play your favorite songs, your favorite hymns, then I believe you can do it. But this fear of failure can lead you to self-doubt. You see, you may have started down the road of learning piano, learning guitar, but you find yourself doubting your own abilities. You feel inadequate. You feel lacking compared to your peers, or you feel lacking compared to the standards that you've set for yourself. It can be helpful at this point to remind yourself that every great musician, without exception, had to start at the beginning. There's no shame in being a beginner. Nobody is grading you on how quickly you progress. Everyone goes at their own pace, including you. You may have a fear of criticism. Receiving feedback, whether from a teacher, from your peers, from an audience, well, that can be daunting. Fear of criticism or judgment, that can hinder your willingness to take risks and express yourself freely through music. There is risk involved in pursuing music, but in my experience, a good teacher will give you good feedback. A truly good teacher wants you to get better, to improve. They want you to succeed. A good teacher will encourage you and build your confidence. Your fellow students will also cheer you on. Now, I've been a member of many musical communities over the years of my career. I've been part of a community of people who play in bands, people who play in churches, songwriters, music producers. And I've discovered a true camaraderie and mutual support. Yeah, there may be some nasty musicians out there. There are nasty people in all areas of life, but they are few and far between. And you will learn to steer clear of those people. You may have a fear of playing for others. Well, this is perhaps the most common fear among learning musicians. The pressure to perform well in front of an audience, whether it's a small recital or a concert, that of course can lead to feelings of anxiety and nervousness. I've dealt with this subject before, so let me just sum it up this way. Audiences are very forgiving and very forgetful. They will forget all of your mistakes when you don't draw attention to them. The best way to get over performance anxiety, to get over that fear of performing, is to get out there and perform. And you may need to wait until you think you are ready. But of course, you may need to get out there before you feel completely ready. You may have a fear of the technical challenges involved in mastering an instrument. You know it requires dedication. It requires practice. And you may be afraid that you'll never be able to overcome technical hurdles or reach your desired level of proficiency. Well, here is where patience comes into play. Play, no pun intended. You may have a fear of comparison to others. You may be tempted to compare yourself to your peers, and that can lead to feelings of insecurity or inadequacy. Especially if you're looking at other musicians and saying, oh, they're more talented than I am, they're more successful. Keep in mind that even the greatest musicians fall prey to this tendency at times, unless they're total narcissists and think they're the greatest ever. But as you progress, keep in mind there's always going to be somebody behind you who's not as advanced as you are, and there will always be somebody ahead of you. But in reality, that's irrelevant. You're all on the continuum of being a musician. We're all musicians at varying levels of achievement. And that's all worth something. That's all worthy of praise. You may have that fear of not being able to balance all your commitments. As a learning musician, you will often have to juggle your music studies with all of your other obligations. Every musician has to deal with life, no matter how advanced they may be. As a professional musician, I still had to deal with things like paying bills and doing chores, raising a child, walking the dog. I've talked about this in my video on the frustrations every musician faces. At times, you may only be able to find a few minutes here and there to practice, and that's okay. There will be days when more time is available, and you can take advantage of that. Even a few minutes of practice can yield results. So these are some of the common fears that you may face as a learning musician. Maybe you've dealt with some of these. Maybe you've dealt with all of them at one time or another. But remember, you're not alone. We've all been there. Every musician's been there. These fears are normal and are experienced by music students at various stages of education, by musicians at all stages of their career. And you can find support from your teachers, from your fellow students, from your family. And once you find those precious folks who will stand behind you as you pursue music, as you seek to master your instrument, cherish those people, because they're in your corner. They will help you conquer those fears. Those fears are going to keep popping up. And so you need those people in your life to help you deal with it. And I hope I can be one of those folks for you. I hope that I can help you deal with those fears that you might face as a learning musician, even if we never meet in person. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this helpful and encouraging. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave those in the comment section. I answer every comment. I answer every question to the best of my ability. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. That helps the channel a lot. And as always, I look forward to speaking to you in the next one.